Well, hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. This is the show where we supply the answers to your homebrewing questions and discuss all things related to craft beer. And if you, my friend, have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, you could go to homebrewhappyhour.com, click on that submit a question link at the top of the page. You can email Joshua at homebrewhappyhour.com. It goes to the same gosh darn place. Even better, call it in to 325-305-6107. Leave a message after the beep. I love hearing your voice. I'm going to just say it. You love hearing your voice, even if you don't actually believe that. I'm telling you, I'm encouraging you. You love hearing your own voice. Lord knows that's a common trait we all share as humans. We love hearing our own voices. Or maybe I'm the narcissist. Either way, call it in and I'll be happy. I am your host, Joshua Stubing, and this week I'm so excited because she's back. And she's back. I'll get to that a little bit more. As in, like, she's back, but not having to go anywhere and come. I'm all over the place already. It's my good friend, the queen bee of brewersfriend.com. It is Youper's Brew. Wait, Youper Brew on Homebrew Talk? Youper?
Youper.
Not plural, just singular. There's not more. There's not multiple upper peninsulas. Just one. Youper Brew on the. It's Lorena Evans, my friend Lorena. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you. Good to be here.
You are well, but you're not. In regards to, like, the smoke is still up there.
No.
We were talking before recording. You got attacked by yellow jackets.
I thought it was kind of a nasty thing to refer to me now as the queen bee. Because that's like in my face.
No,
I only got. They were yellow jackets. Damn it!
I can never be witty and come up with stuff like that on purpose. You're right. People have to hold me, or hold me accountable, guys, if you're watching. But I'm pretty sure I've called her Queen Bee of Brewer's Friend more than once in the past. But you're right. You did just tell me this awful story of being attacked by double digits worth of yellow jackets.
Yeah.
That your dog disturbed. Dogs, man, they're the best, and they're also the dopiest. And what is that hive over there? Let me see. And
I never smelled this before.
I've never smelled this before. But you're telling me before we recorded it was probably a dozen stings. Or I think you said you counted like 8 or 10.
That I counted, but there's some other spots that aren't inflamed.
That terrifies me. Being
it isn't fun.
Yeah, and especially
not a good time.
I grew up believing I was allergic to bees. As an adult, I think my parents just told me that so I wouldn't play with bees and yellow jackets and all that. I think I wasn't a smart kid. I am a chocolate lab equivalent of a human, where it's just like, oh, stove hot. Okay, let me see. Is it still hot? Oh, ow. Is it still hot? Oh, ow. Like, never really learning. And same with bees or whatever. I would have done the same thing. Like, oh, they look friendly. Ow. Why did he do that? Hey, man, I want to be your friend. Ow. But you, and also too, your vocal cord, like I felt so bad 10 minutes ago. I'm over it now, but I did feel bad 10 minutes ago when you're telling me this, and you're telling me this because we always catch up before we record. We always talk about our week and all that. And I was like, why did I ask her to do this show? I'm a bad person, but you are here. And
I am here.
And I do want to announce, I think people online have already gotten the gist. And I think I've mentioned it on Patreon more than a few times, how I've been soliciting you to be more full-time around here. And last week, off air, I basically begged you, and you agreed. You're a mainstay here. Woo! Now all I have to do is just I have to add you on the artwork now. This week, I don't have you on the artwork, the thumbnail, but you're a mainstay. You're a co-host. This week, I just used, there it is. You can't see it over there, Lorena, but it's me, random photo of me with the sparkler from, I think that was New Year's Eve, and a cigar in my mouth. I'm trying to work on the YouTube clickbait. I was told dynamic thumbnails get people to watch. So this is my idea of a dynamic thumbnail, people who are watching at youtube.com/homebrew happy hour. It's not really that dynamic. It's actually... it is me actually trying to follow some advice someone gave me, but also me being a smartass to that person who is earnestly, like, when people try to help me earnestly and they're like, Josh, you could give up the shtick, brother. You could be vulnerable here. And it makes me want to double down on the shtick every time. And so this person was like, Joshua, your thumbnails are good, but they more dynamic. Like people resonate with some personal touch. Like put you on there, like professionally with like a headshot or something. So I found again a photo of me from New Year's Eve holding, I think it's a breakfast stout in one hand, a sparkler in the other. My kids had these glow stick eyewear that I have on, a cigar in my mouth, but that's me taking it
classy.
Yeah.
You're nothing if not classy.
Jeremy, that's me taking it serious, bro. Thanks for the advice.
Oh, by the way, when you're doing this, can you make me tall, thin, and blonde?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, I'm good then. I'm good with whatever you do then.
The photo I put for this week of me is not AI, because if it was, I'd be ripped. I'd be shredded. There's no AI algorithm out there that can fix this. And actually,
I can relate.
I'm looking at myself on the screen. That's not a zit. I got kneed in the face last night while wrestling on my chin. But this morning,
that's when you're wrestling your male friends, right?
That is, yeah.
Okay. I just was checking. Not your girls.
Our clothing resembles pajamas, so it's kind of like a pajama cuddle party. And but yeah, there was
no judgment here. No judgment.
There was a kid. We get college age kids because it's a college town. Even though where I train's a town over, it's still in the general vicinity. And he might be 19 years old, just going crazy. He's 6'3", this like shredded college kid in good shape. And those kind of people they do not enjoy some frumpy, half Mexican, half German, just like tossing them around or having chit chat with people across the mat. Like they're fighting for their life. And I'm like, I haven't seen the Odyssey yet. What were your thoughts? And he was just going, we call it spastic white belts. He was going super spastic, and he was trying to get around my legs, and he just shot himself in it. Boom! Kneed me right in the face, and didn't even apologize. And that rubbed me the wrong way. But literally on my face, he rubbed
you the wrong way.
He rubbed me.
I think we don't want to go there.
No, there's a lot of guys that rub me the right way on the mats. We could go there. Wait a second. Never mind. Well, let's get into this show.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I actually only have a little bit of small talk reminders, my friends. Patreon.com/Homebrew Happy Hour. This month's recipe, an amber ale, because it is a Fat Tire OG clone. I am so pumped for this recipe kit to go out because it is the 35th anniversary of Fat Tire. It might be the 35th anniversary of New Belgium, if I were to guess. That had to be their first beer.
I believe so.
So for their 35th year, they are putting it out in variety packs. I can confirm in Central Texas, I can't get that variety pack yet, or at least not at my local liquor stores in San Marcos. But I've been looking for it, but I'm looking forward to brewing this. So if you go to patreon.com/Homebrew Happy Hour, join a recipe receiving tier, or buy it outright. Do whatever you want. You're an adult. I don't care. But if you go there, you can get the recipe. Huge thank you to our sponsors, Cellar Science, Viking Malt, hopsdirect.com, Monster Brewing Hardware, and of course, brewersfriend.com, where you can use promo code Happy Hour, all one word, and save 25% off your premium membership. You see how I'm working that in?
Thank you.
That's called marketing, baby. And if you go to linkedin.com/Joshua Stubing, I am available to work on your marketing needs as well. See how I worked that in? Oh,
you're brilliant.
Brilliant. I would make an asset for any company, local or remote. Which brings me to my last bit of small talk. Brew Day Live. I'm glad, Lorena, you don't get to see the stuff I put up on the screen, because you would go, I think that background's Kansas City because of last month's recipe kit, and it's not like Fort Collins or something to do with Fat Tire. I know, guys, but either way, if you're watching, ignore the artwork. The information is relevant. Brew Day Live next week, the 31st, Friday, 10 a.m. Central, live at youtube.com/Homebrew Happy Hour. My pop and I will be brewing that Fat Tire clone. I'm looking forward to it. I kegged the Boulevard unfiltered wheat about 10 days ago or 7 days ago. I need to publish that footage that I took of it, but kegged it, and it's sitting. I will not try it yet until my pop and I finish our brew day. I like, if I can, I like trying it alongside him as opposed to having a spoiler. It depends what we brew. When we do the Japanese rice lager, I drank like damn near half of that batch before he ever got to touch it. But with this one, I'm waiting on that, and I am excited to have it on tap because it's like right now. My Google Home Hub here is saying that it's 92 degrees with the feels like of 104. So yeah, we are under like a national heat advisory according to the warnings on my phone and smart devices. So I think an unfiltered wheat is a nice refresher on these kinds of miserably hot days. But so is Kolsch, and so is Japanese rice lager, and so is German Pils. And so I could go on and on and on until I sound like an alcoholic, where I'm like, yeah, beer is a great refresher on these hot days. But anyway, that's all the small talk I have. I don't know if you had, now that you're the mainstay queen brewer, I was about to say queen bee again.
That's okay. I can deal. It's not giving me PTSD yet.
I was about to say, all this unreleased trauma we're going to do on the show now. You're going to be like Batman in regards to your origin story. Bee lady. Oh. You don't have any small talk. I don't have any more small talk. Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
This episode is brought to you by brewersfriend.com. Brewing beer at home isn't just about ingredients, it is about precision. And that's where brewersfriend.com comes in. Whether you're dialing in your first recipe or perfecting your 100th, Brewer's Friend gives you the tools to brew with confidence. Their recipe builder, mash calculators, and water profile database helps take the guesswork out of the process so you can focus on what matters, making great beer. Brewer's Friend isn't just software, it's a community of passionate homebrewers sharing recipes, tips, and feedback. It's like having a homebrew club right in your pocket. Head over to brewersfriend.com today and take your homebrewing to the next level. Use promo code Happy Hour and get 25% off your premium membership. That's brewersfriend.com, because brewing better starts with better tools.
Let's do it.
A confession I already made to you, but I always feel bad if I don't bring it up with everyone there because I don't want to be a phony. The gong of questions is still not working. I have to add it in post. But for all intents and purposes, before we get to question number one, the gong of questions brings us to our first email from our buddy Patrick, and he wrote in, I pitched a clean California ale strain, specifically WLP001, into a 10-gallon batch of West Coast IPA 2 days ago. Fermentation was ripping right along in the sweet spot at 64 degrees Fahrenheit, right at peak activity. Then, about an hour ago, I walked into the brewery space and noticed the ambient temperatures creeping up. I checked my rig, and my Glycol chiller completely threw a rod. The compressor is dead, and replacing it is going to take at least 3 or 4 days. Right now, my ambient room temp is hovering around 76, and without cooling, the heat generated by active fermentation is pushing the vessel past 68. I do not have a backup chamber. I don't have spare glycol and a glycol unit, and no easy way to rig up a water bath for a vessel this size. Am I guaranteed a fusel alcohol and ester bomb if this free rises to 76 during peak attenuation, or is the bulk of the flavor profile already set by day 2? What's my best triage option right now to save this batch? Thanks for any emergency advice. Patrick did send this in 2 weeks ago, so it's past the point. So, but Patrick, my bad. There was a lot of emails, man. I had to get to them, but it's still a good question because I find that technology and gear, or whatever you want to call it, is foolproof till it's not, right? Like our gear is only as good as it works. And I'm not saying Patrick didn't properly plan to prevent the piss poor. You have no idea when your glycol chiller is going to go out. But in this specific scenario, what do you think would have been his best course of action, or what would you have done?
You know, that's a good one. I mean, you can get really, there's not a whole lot of options the more I think about it. You can't do a water bath. You can't do cooling towels. You could put in a portable AC if you happen to have an extra one lying around. However, if you had an extra one lying around, I'm pretty sure we would have already done that. 76 room temperature is, as we all know, fermentation is exothermic, so the temperature will rise just from the activities. 2 days, too, that's hard because I almost wish we could go back in time and Patrick take right live with us and take a gravity reading, Because if he's already just about finished, but what if he's at 1050 or 1040 and he's just in the peak of it? It's going to make a difference because stressed yeast does produce flavors. He asked if he was going to have a fusel bomb though, and I'd like to think not, right? Because if it's just now going up, he said it was 68 or under 68 still.
Correct.
So, it's going to be a gradual rise, but with a room temperature of 76, it's definitely not ideal. That's a great question. I wish I had an answer. How about you, Josh?
Hear me out. And I will confess also that this idea is just because I have a ton of these things. But when we were in the home brewing supply shop game, and also when I was doing liquid yeast, shout out Imperial, you're not a sponsor anymore, but left on great terms.
Yeast.
Incredible yeast. It was just getting too expensive. But when I would ship out, I have to have ice packs, right? I have a crap ton. That's Imperial measurement. I have a crap ton of ice packs. I would configure a way, like maybe bungee cord a towel or something around it and stuffing all those ice packs in there. And I don't know how many it would take to really keep temperature down, but basically the equivalent of an ice or a water bath, but in place, right? Like, do you have CIP? This would be IBIP, ice bath in place. Yeah, see? Yeah.
I did think of the towels, cooling towels with a fan blowing on them. But how in a room that's already 76 degrees, I mean, actually, 76 degrees is my preferred air temperature. So I don't think that's warm at all. Personally, White Labs 001, yeah, that's a little warm.
Yeah, a little.
So I guess it's all relative. But the towels, I did think of towels. And I don't know what kind of fermenter either, but picture this. Say it's a Zilla or something that's kind of low to the ground where you could drape towels and actually have them in like a cooler at the end so they would wick up.
Yep.
I mean, I think that's really the only thing that I could think of. I never thought of the crap ton of ice blocks because I have two.
Well, and that's that's a privilege. Going out and buying ice packs is probably not on his list of things to do, and it wouldn't work. It wouldn't be efficient to rig up some way of keep dumping ice because of how frequently you'd have to do it. Even with the ice packs, the rotation you'd have to maintain. That's almost a part-time job,
Yeah.
But hear me out. Let's assume, and I haven't talked to Patrick, and let's assume it's a vessel that can handle pressure. Does that change the answer at all in regards to, can I add pressure?
Game changer. I think it's a game changer.
So what would you...
But if he had a pressurized vessel, wouldn't it already be under pressure?
Oh, that's a great point. You're right. Well, yeah, no, you're right. Like, well, maybe Patrick, because I've never gotten an email from this guy, so I don't know if he's a longtime listener. He didn't butter me up, so it makes me think he's a new listener because he doesn't know. His question got onto the show.
He doesn't know better.
He doesn't know better. Longtime listeners understand. Here's what's funny. Let me digress for a second, Patrick, and Lorena. When we had gift cards for people who would send in questions, I got buttered up way more than I do now that we don't do gift cards anymore. And in hindsight, giving out $25 gift cards was a lot of money. Maybe I could have been better with Todd's money, but that's a whole different conversation for a whole different podcast.
We're not going there.
We're not going there. But I wonder if he would have mentioned that. Like, is that, to you, try to get outside of our bubble of our own personal perspective. Firmzilla is, I don't know if people buy it because of the price point or priority because it can handle pressure, or maybe both, but you know what I mean? Like, I suspect there's a lot of people. Todd, speaking of the guy being one, he has a CF15 from Spike, and he's never done pressure fermentation in it. And it's it can do pressure up to, I don't want to make it up, 30 psi. It's not it's not a ton, or maybe it's 20. I mean, it's not a ton, but I say it's not a ton. I mean, hell, 20 to 30 is plenty for if you're doing pressure fermentation. But I don't know, like, that if Patrick let's pretend like he didn't know. Let's pretend for this scenario, it is a Firmzilla and it can go up to 35 PSI, but he didn't realize that. Would you then recommend, oh, dude, at that point that your glycol failed, dump 10 PSI into that thing, and then at 76 or at 68, you're fine. And when it finishes out or close to finishing out, package it and let this batch be whatever it ends up being?
Right. That's a great idea. Yeah, I think that would work. And I guess I was not even thinking of pressure at the time because he mentioned 10 pounds, the 10-gallon batch and glycol. But certainly it can be a redundant thing. You can have glycol and pressure, and a lot of people do.
Yeah.
So that is actually probably the best idea for someone else who's in that position. I really hope maybe Patrick could call in and leave a voicemail and tell us how it really worked out, because we're all going on conjecture and giving our advice.
Yep.
Should it happen to someone else. But I would really actually love to know the results of this.
Patrick, call it in. I knew I liked having you around. You do calls to action. That was another thing Jeremy told me to do. If you're liking the show and you're watching at YouTube, hit the subscribe button, or smash that like button, hit the subscribe button. And if you listen to us on whatever platform, leave a review. I can't solicit 5 stars, but you want to leave a 5-star review. I've been told you're not supposed to solicit 5 stars, or maybe that's Amazon. Either way.
Yeah, wait a minute. Is soliciting against the rules?
When I do it on the corners on Saturday nights, I think it is. Like when I'm on the corner working. A man's got to make a living. Listen, a man's got to make a living. In this town, it's rough. All these 19-year-olds don't want to see me on the corner. But no, Patrick, we need a follow-up on this as to what happened, because this email is dated July 12th. So of this year. So I haven't followed up with him. I would love to know what he did. So
right, me too.
I'll actually email him. I'm being presumptuous that Patrick even listens. He knew to write in. So I think you're a listener, Patrick. But if you're not, I'll email you and get a follow-up. But also, if you're listening to this and you have feedback, or better, if you're watching it at youtube.com/Homebrew Happy Hour, leave your thoughts in the comments below. With whatever assumptions you want to give. Like Lorena said, it's not always the healthiest in regards to troubleshooting when you're just operating on conjecture, but I liked it. Hypotheticals. What if he owned a pet tiger and lived in the Saharan desert? Like, what if? Let's throw down that route. Well, then what I would do is I'd sell the tiger for another glycol unit. I could go down tons of hypotheticals. I love it. That's where I exist. I am clinging to reality by a thread. That's
short thread.
Very short. Yeah. Is that a height joke? Is that what we're doing now?
Oh, no, wait, no. What?
No, you're not a 5'0" half Mexican. No. Patrick, thank you so much for submitting that email. A reminder, guys, if you want your question on air, you could email joshua@homebrewhappyhour.com or go click on the submit a question link at the top of homebrewhappyhour.com, because again, it goes to the same gosh darn place, or call it in 325-305-6107. This episode is brought to you by Cellar Science. For years, homebrewers have been told they have to choose. Do you want the quality of liquid yeast or the convenience of dry? Well, Cellar Science flipped the script. They're proving that dry yeast isn't just a backup plan anymore, it's the upgrade. Cellar Science offers premium dry yeast that delivers higher cell counts than typical liquid pitches, meaning you get a stronger, healthier fermentation without the hassle. And the best part? You can direct pitch right into your wort, no starters, no waiting, just brewing. Whether you need their new West Coast strain for a classic American IPA or jungle for a massive fruity estery flavor, they've got your next batch covered. It's quality yeast that doesn't break the bank. Save time, save money, and brew better beer with Cellar Science. And our second question is another email, but it is our buddy Nicholas. At some point, the Donga questions just played. So, Nicholas wrote in and he says, "Hey there, love the show and appreciate all the practical advice you share every week." That's sort of buttering us up. I keep seeing the term diacetyl rest tossed around in online brewing forums. From what I understand, it's a temperature ramp toward the end of fermentation to help the yeast clean up the popcorn butter flavors, but I'm clear as mud on when it's actually necessary. Is a diacetyl rest strictly a lager thing, or should I be doing it for standard ale strains like US05 or SO4 as well? Also, what is the exact threshold for when to kick it off? Do I wait until final gravity target, or do I ramp up the temperature while fermentation is still actively rolling? I'd love a breakdown on when a brewer actually needs to worry about it versus when we're just overcomplicating things. Thanks for keeping us informed and entertained. First off, is diacetyl or diacetyl?
I say diacetyl. That's the way I always heard it, but I don't think there's a right or wrong.
Is it tomato? Okay.
Sort of, kind of, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know.
What were you going to say, though?
Well, I was going to say he just put a lot of questions into that email, so I want to unpack it a little bit.
Yeah.
First, to unpack it, we need to talk about a little bit what it is. He mentioned buttered popcorn flavor, which is true in huge amounts, but it's present in a smaller amount. It has a little bit different. Where it comes from, it's a byproduct of yeast fermentation, and so there are yeast strains. Say like is it Ringwood yeast strain? It's an English yeast. One of the things it does is produce some diacetyl. In that small amount, it's actually part of a certain British beer character, and in that case, it's more of a mouthfeel, a lighter flavor that is actually a part of the character of it. And some yeast strains just produce more than others. The reason you do it more in lagers is because lagers need to be exceptionally clean. And since it's fermented at a cooler temperature, stress yeast tends to produce more of these flavors. So that kind of gives you the background without going into all the scientific byproducts and breakdowns of this. So the first thing is to avoid excess diacetyl in your finish, but pitch enough yeast.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that just goes without saying. And in order to minimize it, if you don't want it, pick a yeast strain that doesn't produce as much. Don't use Ringwood in a cream ale if you don't want diacetyl in it. So that's a couple of little things that kind of beginner diacetyl. The next thing is there was questions about when to do a diacetyl rest. Now, he mentioned the diacetyl he didn't mention diacetyl rest, I don't think. He said like diacetyl and you raise. The idea is yeast, once it's kind of finishing fermentation, will go and clean up any diacetyl that they can if they're still healthy. So the yeast sitting at the bottom of the fermenter is not doing this. It's going to be the yeast in suspension. So you do want to do it when the yeast is still active, but because you don't want to stress your yeast and have the temperature too high and deal with those off flavors, you do it at the tail end of fermentation. Ideally, you would have like a tilt hydrometer or something so you'd know.
Yeah.
But, if you don't, you can kind of look at it and go, okay, I think we're near the end. Maybe I'll take a reading. But you might be able to see the krausen will maybe start to drop. It'll show signs that it's finishing up. You can go ahead and bump up that rest. You don't need to go up 15 degrees. You can go up 4 or 5, a little bit at a time, and bring it up there and let it finish. So that should clean up the diacetyl, assuming you had healthy yeast to begin with. Now, I tend to do it for all yeast strains because why not? Yeah. Right? What do you do, Josh?
No, I do the same. That's why I'm shaking my head. Yes, because I agree. Whenever you wrap up your part of it, I'll add my thing that benefits me, because that's really why I have you on the show, is to benefit me, and that's why I even do the show, is to benefit me. I'm being sarcastic, but I'm not. But no, I actually, every batch my pop and I we do under pressure, and I think by default I'm doing it because in the summer months it's like 72 to 74 in here, and when we're doing like the unfiltered wheat, it was at 72 to I'll just round up 73. It was at 73 the whole time. I'm not confident that I had to bump it up anymore. I was in that sweet spot. But would you, in a pressure fermentation at room temp, would you still worry about bumping up the temperature more towards the tail end of active fermentation? Do you know what I'm like? That's where I
Yeah.
I don't know if
No,
I haven't
but
had diacetyl present, so I've just assumed maybe we've been lucky and I should be
no,
brewing.
I think you're more than lucky. You had proper amount of yeast, the right strain,
Yeah.
the right temperature, the right amount of pressure. If you do all these things right, you probably don't really have to worry about diacetyl. And again, and he asked specifically, is this just a lager thing? It's not
Right.
just
No.
a lager thing, but that's what styles will benefit most.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some things if you don't start with healthy yeast, no matter what you do, pressure, no pressure, temperature, you're going to have off flavors. And diacetyl, what happens with diacetyl, it's not there initially until the yeast starts to ferment, and then it's a byproduct. So if you get stuck there or somehow have unhealthy yeast there, that's when it's going to be a problem. And in order for it to be that butter bomb, the Harry Potter butter beer, it's got to be pretty bad. And there's actually some beers that have diacetyl in them that are actually kind of famous beers. Do you know one that comes to mind?
No,
Is it
no.
Rolling Rock?
No, does it really? Rolling Rock?
I think it's Rolling Rock that's the diacetyl bomb.
No way.
Yeah, and people love it,
Yeah.
right? And so, and again, some of these English strains produce it. It's part of the character. So it doesn't need to be really, really awful, but you don't want it in your lagers, your cream ales, your kolsch, the really clean beers. It might give a great character to some things, and that's why people use English strains for the esters and some of the other flavors. But I think in your case, you're not just lucky. You're brewing it,
That's right.
fermenting it right.
I'm a pro. I'm not lucky.
Yeah,
It's all
see,
by design.
yeah. Okay, now next time you get a diacetyl bomb, I want to hear all about it.
I'll never admit that. I'll die with that. I want to tell you a story that is relevant. I'm not digressing too much, guys.
Okay.
But there was a brewery in Brownwood, and it wasn't our buddy Wes's Teddy's. It was the other one. I'll leave it at that. I think this guy might still be brewing in another town. He obviously had his blonde ale. Obviously was maybe fermented bad, or he didn't, or like you said, it was probably not a good enough yeast pitch. But one time, this was probably 2022, 2023, he has this Facebook post. Come down to the brewery, the tap room, and try out our new Grandma's Butterscotch Blonde.
Remember that? I do remember that.
But it wasn't a joke. He didn't want to dump his, barrel or whatever he brewed. And so instead he tries to rebrand it. And if that's not bad enough, people were in the comments, best beer I've ever had. Woo! And I was like, what planet this is when I actually gave up on democracy, because I was like, these people can vote. Like these people's votes cancel my vote. I don't like that. When they're Grandma's Butterscotch beer blonde is the best beer I've ever. No, it's not. No, it's not.
It's probably the best Grandma's Butterscotch beer ever.
Yeah. And I don't know if that was actually even on both sides of my family. I don't remember my grandparents being big on butterscotch. When did butterscotch become the stereotypical candy of the grandmother? Has that always been a thing?
Well, yeah, your grandma wouldn't have, but give you little Werther's butterscotch candies. That was a thing. She had a whole candy dish full of them in her parlor.
I didn't know. My great grandmother, who lived, like, they owned a business. It was a grocery store first, and then they turned it into a printing shop. And their place was on the second floor. Their home was the whole second floor, and she would have those watermelon candies. Or maybe they were strawberry candies. I think they were watermelon
That's
candies.
still a better grandma than I had then.
It was, but and also she's the one, my Grandma Dee, shout out Grandma Dee, rest in peace. She introduced me to candied prune. I say candy. I think they're all dipped in molasses. Prunes. That's when I learned. Oh, you don't like prunes? Are you kidding me? Do you not like being regular? Hello? Prunes are
My regularity has nothing to do with this podcast.
I love prunes.
Or lack of, okay?
I love here's how I'm totally digressing, Nicholas. I'll get back to your question. When I learned the two things in life, I was real young when I learned I love prunes. When I learned Metamucil made delicious cookies, oh my gosh. I asked my wife. I wish she had a YouTube account to comment and vouch for me. I buy them in bulk on subscription.
Bulk.
Every day.
See, again, you're funny again.
Every day, I'm opening up at least 3 of these packs, the 2-pack, and having and my wife said, I don't think they're supposed to be part of your regular diet. I go, if they weren't, they wouldn't be so delicious. All right. It is a great dessert. This episode's brought
I'm not coming to your house for dinner ever.
This episode's brought to you by the Council on Bowel Health. Go to councilonbowelhealth.com. It would actually be .org. Now people know I'm a phony. It's not a real website. But anyways, back to popcorn, butter, diacetyl, whatever questions. I just want to get this out there. If you package the beer and it's present, that batch is done. There's no coming back from that, right? And so getting a nip on it during fermentation is what we want to do, which is why you said, and I agree, it's not a bad idea to do it for everything you brew. Like, why not? I mean, things happen. Whether we were doing liquid yeast or now our wonderful sponsor, Cellar Science has been chewing through stuff in it. They pack it with however many billion cells as well, like 100 or 200 billion or whatever it is. That's great. But things happen in regards to how it was stored, maybe, or like to where you think you are pitching enough. But if you're not, you don't want to learn that at packaging. You want to learn that before, just giving yourself your best foot forward. So why not bump up the temp? And like you said, towards the end of active fermentation, if you're at 64, hey, tomorrow bump it up to 68. Hey, the next day bumped up to 72. Hey,
why not?
Yeah. Is there a time frame that you think is adequate for a proper rest before packaging, or is it anecdotal?
There probably is. And all of us have read John Palmer, I think, and the test, you can actually take a sample of the beer and boil it and taste it. And if diacetyl if you're unsure,
yes,
and you want to do that, I am one of these people that I have the time as a home brewer. I don't need to package the day it reaches final gravity. Although, you know what, in a pinch I have. Okay, let's be real. So, I might let it kind of free ride up. And where I tend to brew, it never really, except when really hot days, gets much above 72 in my house anyway. So, let it free rise. So I really have not had a problem. I did do a Czech lager a number of years ago, and apparently it tasted great to me. It was good on tap, but I bottled from my tap, with a beer gun. And they did note some diacetyl in it when I sent it off for judging. Was that just something I missed? Or was it present small enough that I didn't really pick up that character? So you can taste it and see, or you can let it sit. Now, if you're in a hurry and you got to package that beer, I would be careful to make sure it's a final gravity and give it a taste. And if you're still unsure, do that, boil it, and you can probably look that up. I won't go into all the John Palmer stuff right now, but you can look it up and see if you really think it's diacetyl, and then give it some more time. But yeah, like you said, that once you package it, once you remove the beer from the yeast, particularly if you filter or if you do some way to make ultra clear, and lagers tend to be really clear at packaging anyway, then it is too late. And then you do grandma's butterscotch ale.
That's right. Maybe instead of Kolsch Cup next year, we do butterscotch ale competition.
Let's not.
That would be the grossest.
Who's gonna drink all that butterscotch ale?
That would be the grossest competition of all. No, not the grossest. That's a lie. I can think of grosser stuff, but again,
the grossest competition I ever did was the dark winter night stout competition, and I judged a French onion soup stout. And let's just leave it at that.
No.
He nailed it.
It
was
worse.
Cheesy, oniony, stinky. Nailed it. That beer has scarred me for life.
Yeah,
that was about 15 or 20 years ago.
That's the kind of stuff that makes God want to flood the earth again. They did. My creation did what? I promised I wouldn't do it again, but a French onion.
So it does make diacetyl-ridden lagers sound much better.
Sound palatable. Absolutely. I had an idea for a segment, not like on the show, but like a one-off video or a whole different show that I called Craft Beer Roulette. and it would be like a lazy Susan, and it would be like in the corners or like a cross section, the north, south, east, west would be decent beer, and then everything else was filled with like stuff nobody likes, or maybe just not. Yeah, wouldn't that be fun? And then
I think it'd be a blast.
Then
let's do it.
You just spin it, and then the Price is Right, whatever that thing is called, the hand that then stops the wheel, and you go, oh no, not a vomit ale. And I'm making that up. We wouldn't have a vomit ale, but like James had gotten me some can of like 1972 beer from the set of Dallas, or it was made for that old TV show Dallas. It was called like JR Lager or something. I don't know. I wasn't around when that show was a show, but
you don't have to bring that up.
I still, yeah. No, you weren't around either, right?
No, I wasn't either.
You were 82?
It's not like I watched it every Friday night at 9 o'clock.
No, you were born in like 1982, I thought. Anyway, moving on. Yeah. Having that beer, though, and I still have it, there's no way it tastes good after all this time, because who knows how it was stored. I thought it'd be hilarious to have that as one. Beer I don't like any given
I'll
sour.
send you some. There's a beer here that has the world's best can, and crappie fishing is really big up here. We have a lot of crappie fishermen. It's called Floppin' Crappie.
Does it taste
It's awful.
Oh, perfect.
I probably have a can from 20 years ago when my friend gave it to me. It's probably still sitting on the shelf in my basement. I can volunteer to give you that one.
Perfect. See, there we go. I'll build up a thing, or a collection. I'll curate the beer, and then film maybe I'll film the first episode with my pop, and we'll do.
Oh, that'd be great. I would love it.
Craft beer roulette. But anyway, Nicholas, thank you so much for submitting the question. Are you still paying premium prices for imported malt, or settling for standard domestics to save a buck? You don't have to choose anymore. Let me tell you, friends, about Viking Malt. They are the world's largest producer of specialty malt using pristine, non-GMO Northern European barley. And because it's directly imported, you get pro-level, award-winning malt at standard domestic pricing. But here's where it gets really cool for homebrewers. Introducing their new Viking 3G Extra Pale Base Malt. It is genuinely innovative. It's a no-lots malt, meaning it's bred without the enzymes that cause beer to stale, so your kegs and bottles stay fresh way longer. Plus, it has 60% less of the stuff that causes DMS. That means cleaner beer, and you can actually shorten your boil times, saving you energy and time on your brew day. It's highly modified, extra light, and perfect for lagers or any hop-forward ale. Upgrade your next brew day with Viking 3G Extra Pale. A reminder, guys, if you want your question read on air, the easiest way, obviously, is email. If you don't like hearing your voice, whatever, Joshua@homebrewhappyhour.com. You've heard that 1,000 times. You could text the hotline, but why do that when you can just pick up the phone, and instead of pushing the buttons to text, you push them to call 325-305-6107. The gong of questions that is totally real, and boo, look, I pushed the button, and now it's playing, and we all hear it. Brings us to our third and final question of the week. It's another email from our buddy Brian from Tennessee. New member of your Trube Club, and I found myself staring at the label on the fresh bag of hops, trying to make sense of the number and the percentage you have written. After texting you, I can vouch, we did communicate. I now know that's the alpha acid percentage. I learned that alpha acids are responsible for bitterness, but I'm a bit fuzzy on how much attention I need to pay to that number depending on when the hops go into the pot. Does a high number matter more than the full 60-minute boil, or does it carry just as much weight for late boil and after boil too? Also, what does a higher alpha acid number actually signify about the hop itself? If I swap out a 6% alpha acid hop for a 14% alpha acid hop late in the boil, am I drastically altering that beer, or is the high AA number mostly wasted if it's not boiled for an hour? Would love to hear you clear up the math and science behind this so I can start tweaking my additions with a bit more confidence. I like equipping people, Lorena, with confidence, which is why I have guest hosts, because I cannot do it myself. How boring would it be if before the show, I just pull up ChatGPT and I put Brian's question into it? And yes, Brian, the alpha acid, hold on. I'd actually put it behind the camera so it looks like I'm talking to the camera, but I'm reading a prompt. Either way, total digression. Answering his question, he is a new member of the Trub Club. And every time I vacuum seal these hops, my guys, these kits are premium. You have no idea the painstaking effort I go through to make them premium. I actually didn't know vacuum sealing hops would impress so many people. I thought that was standard. It impresses them. And so I do write the weight first off on top. So I'll put 1 ounce and then I'll put Fuggles because that's everyone's favorite. Who doesn't love Fuggles?
Absolutely.
So I'll put 1 ounce Fuggles and then underneath it, I'll put the alpha acid, which Fuggles probably doesn't get above 7%, 5%. Yeah, it's pretty low. But I never actually have considered why. I mean, I know why I put it on there because people plug it into their brewing software, their calculators, and they get their IBUs and all that. But I've never actually talked about that much on the show, like why alpha acids matter. We kind of took a question on it. You helped me with a while ago where someone was asking about, hey, all I have for hops is this, what's it going to do? So this is kind of a callback to that question, right. But what can you tell Brian about alpha acids and when they matter or why they matter?
Well, that's a great question. Hops are acidic, believe it or not, and they have other acids and other compounds as well, oils, things like that. But the alpha ads basically are to tell you how much bitterness they can provide to your beer. And why that matters is every year, each crop is a little different and they vary. Also varieties. Like we said, Fuggles tends to be really low, but Summit tends to always be really high. And so you get varying amounts of bitterness anyway, in addition to flavor, because they'll have different oils and things too. So these alpha acids, the best way to make it where I can understand it is it's an indicator of the amount of bitterness you're likely to be able to get when these hop oils isomerize, which means get dissolved in the wort, right? So the fact that you wrote on 3.7, if you're not using brewing software and you're just following a standard recipe, it's really not going to matter much in a kit, especially if you order one from a homebrew store or get one from Josh, because those are already curated for you. But on your own, if you are buying your ingredients, now the difference, say you bought some Amarillo and some is 8.2 and some is 8.5. But I have Amarillo that varies just in my own freezer right now from 6 to 10. Yep. That can make a big difference. The longer a hop is boiled, the more bitterness is actually extracted from them. Okay, so in late additions, if you're putting them in at the end of the boil and you have a really high alpha acid, you're going to get a little bitterness from that still, same with dry hops, but not as much. So if you boil something for 60 minutes, you really don't want to over bitter or under bitter your beer. So that's where it's really going to matter more. I don't want to say it doesn't matter at 15 minutes because it could, but you really want to just be aware. Now, I've been using brewing software for more than 20 years. And so even if I get a recipe like I did on the Pliny cone from you, I still put it in my software. Do I make changes then? No, not if I get it and it's already been curated. I like having my recipe anyway. But when I build a recipe, it's really important because I do not want to make a cream ale and use Chinook hops that are 15.2. When I would be better off to use, even if it was Chinook, which it wouldn't be in a cream ale, but I'd rather use 3.5 or 4.8, to get those matters. And in order to calculate it, you can do it by hand. You can look up the formula online, and it's about, runs my old calculus classes in college, but there are formulas. Using the software, though, that's right there, or spreadsheets or whatever you use. So it does signify the amount of acids, but it's not going to tell you like the flavor of the beer, just the potential bittering quality. Okay, so that's why it's one part of the whole hop additions in your beer. Yeah. What do you think, Josh? No, do you do the same, especially with you like to brew Kolsch and some lower bittered beers? For me, I think the Pliny clone was calculated out at, I don't know, 125 IBUs or something ridiculous like that. So I'm probably not a good judge of what's too bitter.
No, I actually want to make a Pliny the Kolsch now. Yes, I would know.
Pliny Kolsch version.
Yeah, Pliny the Kolsch. No, that sounds terrible. No, I always laugh at hop and bittering questions directed towards even when with Todd and James, none of us are hop heads. So it was like, guys, I'm trying to make another double IPA. What would you do? Spoiler, I wouldn't do it. No. But no,
I do a triple instead.
But I did want to add and ask you, because I was just thinking of it as you were talking. I was listening, I promise, I swear. I listen. When women speak, I listen. Okay?
That's because you've got so many of them in your life, you don't have a choice.
I want you and everyone watching, especially Dragonfly Lady. I'm still thinking about you. And I'm an ally. I'm one of the good guys. I'm here. I'm one of the good ones. Not all men.
You aren't going to change her mind.
No, of course not. No, I'm an awful, terrible person, and she knows it, and that's why I get it. Everything she said is so true. Oh, if only she knew. No, but I was going to ask you. For me, off the top of my head, I would think I want to focus. Like if I'm trying to get this certain, like maybe a grapefruit note or aroma and flavor. I'm probably not even looking at the alpha acid. I just know off the top of my head, I want mosaic, baby. I'm going to put or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, would you agree that if there's this, like, if for late edition, let me preface, for late edition hops, like flame out or dry hopping, that the qualities you want from the taste and aroma should be the focal as opposed to, well, the alpha acids are too high or they're too low. No, I want that galaxy because it imparts whatever.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Right. And you can use the smallest quantity. If it's, a lot of people do not pick Columbus, add 15 alpha acids for their flavor. But sometimes I do. There's sometimes I want some dank or something.
Yep.
So then I do either do it later in the boil or dumb it down a little. Okay. Now, one of the things that I don't think we've ever really talked about much, at least not lately, is there's a lot of new ways to process hops these days, including noble hops. So I have some in my freezer. I think they call them noble hops, right? I should look in my freezer.
Yeah.
Because those are the ones that they process somewhat differently to have lower alpha acids but still give you all the flavor. I have a
really?
Okay, I'm going in my freezer.
You're not talking about cryo, right?
Well,
are we talking
everybody? Yeah. Well,
are you talking about cryo?
No, cryo is a whole different story.
Right.
Is it backwards?
Okay, no, you're good. No.
So this is from Yakima, and it's American Noble. And now, put my glasses on so I can read. I still can't. Would you hold this for me so I can see it? It's designed to provide Pacific Northwest aroma and flavor with reduced bitterness.
Interesting. And it's mosaic. I see that.
This is mosaic. This is Palisade. I have Simcoe. It's really great for typically higher alpha. So this mosaic, did you see? You probably can't see the alpha acids on this. 2.7.
What?
Yes. So I don't know how they do it. No. It's magic. It's Yakima magic. But I have cryo too. Cryo's different. That's stronger. But anyway, so if you are really wanting to make a beer with, especially like, I guess more for like hazies, milkshake IPAs, things that you want all of this hop aroma, like I love mosaic too. That's one of my favorites. Then you can choose maybe different hops from your supplier. So that's always something that I think about. When I'm over 200 IBUs, though, I don't care.
Yeah,
but if I'm doing a pale ale or maybe an all-day IPA, I'm going to use something with less AAUs at the end of the boil.
I had to look it up because I was like, man, I thought I've had
you didn't believe
No, I'm saying
me? I pulled it out of my freezer.
I'm talking about normal mosaic because I was like, man, I thought I've seen it as high as like 15. AI,
it's pretty low.
Google's AI, mosaic hops typically have an alpha acid range of 10.5 to 14.
And I think the ones, my regular mosaic, I think are, I don't know, like, let's see, mosaic. I have a lot.
Look how many hops, Are you you're running the supply shop over there?
Oh, these are 9.2.
Yeah, mosaic. I just mean, what magic are they doing over there?
Yeah,
That's
and
cool.
how do I see this? I'm pretty geeky about stuff, but I didn't really care enough to look it up on this.
The
I just
story.
believe them. So when they sent them to me, I'm like, thanks, and I do like them. So that's for some of you who are not hopheads,
Yeah.
and I think that's great. Or you can use them in dry hopping too. The thing is with dry hopping, the amount of utilization, there's some, but it's much lower. So using a high alpha acid in a dry hop, especially if I dry hop 3 to 5 days a lot of times, so you're probably not going to get a lot of extraction, but something late in the boil for 5 minutes or 0 or even whirlpool, you can use the lower alpha acids of the hops you like.
And I was just thinking about too, I could write whatever number I want. They're not. How are they going to test the alpha acid when I send out these hops?
Because you're so trustworthy. We know you never lie to us or mislead us or lead us astray.
What? Yeah, you're gonna get. I'm sending you. Oh, you don't need the hops. You just want the bill.
Oh, you can send hops too.
No, but you wanted the Pliny again, but you didn't. I was gonna write on every bag Fuggles and Fuggles 19%.
You're a dirty boy.
Fuggles 19%, and just you won't know when to add what.
You got me interested in the fat tire clone. You're going to be.
Is that what you'd rather have? What would I told you whenever I'm doing recipes next week. Reminder, my friends, patreon.com/homebrew happy hour. Join a recipe receiving tier or buy it outright. Again, you're an adult. Do whatever you want. I don't care. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but just know all proceeds support my struggling family right now in this time of. No, I'm sorry. Again.
We need one of those commercials with Sarah McLachlan. Do these children look hungry?
Far away.
Save this child today from this.
And they all. Oh, yeah.
Sound like Sarah McLachlan.
Thank you.
Should be on.
I drive a Subaru, so I listen to a lot of that Lilith Fair type music. It's her and Tracy Chapman and Melissa Etheridge. Come to my window. Yeah. When you drive a Subaru, they give you Best of Lilith Fair as a parting gift when you leave the lot. They're like,
and then all the estrogen in your house just helps.
That's right. Absolutely. I am testosterone free. Yeah. Maybe I should dry hop testosterone into my next batch of beer. I get my doctor write me a prescription. Instead of injecting it into my rear, I just put it into one of those hop syringes. Oh, my testosterone Kolsch. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Enjoy the hair on your back. But anyway.
Hey, wait a minute. I wanted to drink some of that. I already got the deep Kathleen Turner voice. I don't need any of that.
No, you're on my favorite trajectory of if your vocal cords keep getting worse, we're going to do the tracheotomy shtick. We're like, that's a great question, Brian. Anyway.
I know, and believe it or not, one of my doctor's suggestions was to not talk so much.
And then here you are. Like, well,
what the hell kind of advice is that? Just do the surgery.
What kind of existence is that? Who told me two things that were brought to my attention recently? Last night, there was this lady on the mats, and I say lady, she's probably in her late 40s, mid 40s, or if she ever watches this, she's probably in her 20s. Who knows? You're aging great. I have no idea. You tried just out of college, but she told me I have little brother energy, which I didn't know how to take. I was like, I am a little brother. That's true. But she said I have little brother energy. And then also, I was at a meeting. I've been doing videography for local businesses. And one of the managers at this place was like, wow, you can talk, huh? I was like, I've never heard that. What? No. So I was so self-conscious the rest of that meeting. I would say like 5 seconds and then just like,
I told you when I was at the doctor, my ENT guy, he goes, well, at least you don't make a living with your voice.
You're like, in Florida, you do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, if my doctor told me that, he would still be right. It's like, yeah, this doesn't pay the. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Doc. I don't. Today's show is brought to you by Hopsdirect.com. Grown in the esteemed Yakima Valley on the Pewterball family farm, Hopsdirect.com offers the widest variety of hops available online at incredibly competitive pricing. It's simple. They grow hops, they sell hops, And they ship hops straight from their family-owned farm to your doorstep. Producing the highest quality hops is Hopsdirect.com's passion, and they're proud to be an independent grower in the craft beer industry. Go to Hopsdirect.com right now and get what you need to make your brew day better. That's Hopsdirect.com. Anyways, Brian, thank you so much. The final reminder, guys, Patreon. Look at me, Mr. Infomercial. No.
Now, do you work here? I just want to be clear.
I do. Okay,
just check it.
Homebrewhappyhour.com. Click on that submit a question link, but better yet, guys, future questions, call them in 325-305-6107. You could text that hotline like many of you do every day. And I love it. I'm not even complaining, Lorena. I get between 15 and 50. It always ranges. No less than a dozen, no more than 50 usually. Direct text messages any given day talking about, hey, here's a beer I just brewed. I love it. Because most of them, they're not questions per se. A lot of the times it's, dude, check out this alt beer I just brewed. Or, hey, I got a bronze medal in this local fair.
Ooh.
I love it. We have the best community on the planet. And even if you don't join one of the premium tiers, you could go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour. There is a free tier. A lot of people have been joining it lately. I appreciate it. Y'all have no idea. I'll be sincere, Joshua, for 5 seconds. Put it on the counter. I sincerely appreciate everybody who joins the club and supports us, even if it is just a virtual pat on the back. You don't have to give me money to support. I always do that shtick about, oh, I need your money and all of that, which is I won't go there, but just having the encouragement that I've had has what's kept this show going. Obviously, the people who pay for the recipe kits literally keep the show going, but if you saw the amount of encouragement, Lorena, that I get on a daily basis,
cool.
It's the best ever,
so cool.
Which is how I roped you in, because I was like, hey, the people like you, Lorena. And you're like, what?
But I wanted to point out something to you that I think you missed or else glossed over. I know that Brian is a new member, but he is a member of the Trube.
That's right. He did spell it that way too. Yeah.
And I'm very proud that he obviously has listened enough to know he's right and you're wrong.
And I'm wrong. That's right. I do need to update the logo to having umlauts on the U's of both words. And then it's settled. And that will really piss off my former counterparts in Germany. Like I found ways to troll them all the time, and that would be the ultimate troll, where it's just like, Joshua, like you say the right word. You said it earlier. I say Krausen, you say tomato. Krausen, tomato, Krausen, let's go.
I believe I say Kreuzen.
You do say Kreuzen, like a madman.
Yeah, not tomato.
We're American. We say Krausen in these parts. You hear me?
That's because you're Texan. It's not because you're American. It's because you're Texan.
It's true.
It's a big difference. That's
true. And again, when people call me out, I like to make it awkward for them and go, guys, I have a speech impediment. How dare you? You know how ableist you sound right now, correcting me, the man with the speech impediment and the bobblehead? Do you know how bad you sound? But no, I always say things wrong. Anyway.
Apparently your speech impediment hasn't affected your ability to talk forever.
That's right. With that being said, my friend, thank you so much for joining. You are the co-host. You're not just guest host. I don't have to say that. You are my co-host until you're not. But for now, you are. I'm kidding. Don't
fire me already. It's my first day.
I have no power. Yeah, it's my first day. I have no power. I have no authority. You know, you have the link and you know when I record. You could hop on anyways. You know, you'd be like, hey, what y'all doing? But I appreciate your time this week. I will stop now. I will even more than ever stop being last minute with you. We'll make a time. I promise I'll try my best. But that promise just means I'll try. It doesn't actually mean anything.
I know. But I have no expectations.
Thank you, my friends, so much for your time, and I'll catch you next week.
Thank you.